All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our third speaker, Jeffrey A. Rogers. Jeffrey Rogers is an award-winning executive business coach, entrepreneur, and professional trainer dedicated to developing high-performing business leaders. A certified coach through the Professional Business Coaching Alliance, he specializes in empowering entrepreneurs, C-suite executives, and management teams with customized coaching strategies that drive clarity, accountability, and results. As a founder of Catalyst Leadership Dynamics, Jeff helps leaders optimize performance, streamline business structures, and enhance personal well-being, fueling sustainable success while reducing stress. His speech topic, Cultivating Collaboration for Success, intentionally fostering a culture of collaboration, talks on how it's crucial for cultivating a robust workplace, relationships internally and externally. Many individuals and organizations could collaborate better with their teams, partners, employees, vendors, and clients, changing the narrative and becoming the catalyst for change. Often, they lack the intentional focus to do so. We will uncover the obstacles and the benefits of developing a culture of collaboration. Everyone wins when they are engaged and working together with a purpose. Explore the benefits and why developing a culture of collaboration matters in your organization. I give to you Jeffrey Rogers.
Thank you very much. How is everybody? I'm really excited to be here with you. You know, the question that I have for you is, how do you approach collaboration personally, professionally, and organizationally? You know, you get to work with a lot of different business leaders, business owners, management teams, and leadership teams with the work that we do at Catalyst Leadership Dynamics. And what I find very often is people use this word in their vocabulary in a business environment very often without understanding truly what it is. I think they understand the what of it, but potentially there's opportunity in the how that we collaborate. So right now, I'd like to ask you, I want you to think about, what is your definition of collaboration? Think about that. How do you currently collaborate? Do you collaborate intentionally, or do you collaborate and you accept what you get without nurturing or cultivating it? How many of us have had success every time we've been in a collaborative effort? Right, nobody has raised their hand. And working with leaders across the board in any environment and in any industry, I hear a couple of different struggles. I hear very often, I don't have enough time and I don't have enough resources to accomplish what I need to get done in the course of a day. By raise of hands, how many of us struggle with time? Everybody raising their hand. How about with resources to get done what you need to get done in the course of a day? Absolutely, everyone's raising their hand. What if I was to gently push back to you and say, it's likely you have the time, it's likely you even have the resources, but it's probably how you're allocating and prioritizing the time and resources that you have that's the problem. That might smart a little bit, but it's true. So I'd like, as we explore changing the narrative together today, to be a little vulnerable, be willing to step outside of your comfort zone, and look at yourself objectively and think, what might I be able to do differently to earn different results, to elevate what it is I am attempting to do? So as I put onto the screen right now the idea of the definition of collaboration, my definition probably aligns with what your thought was when collaborating, right? The ability to harness efforts, actions, behaviors with others to achieve desired outcomes. That probably was no surprise to you. But I'm hoping that what I'm able to present to you as we move forward, that you're going to be able to understand some things that you might do differently that you never even thought about before. What I want you to take away from this discussion today, probably more than anything, is that collaboration allows you to get more with what you already and currently have. Think about that for a second. To be able to get more with what I currently have. So I've assembled some statistics here for you to review. And as you take a moment to review this slide, I want you to look at it and understand that I assembled it based on strategy in business, culture in business, sustainability, and profitability. As a leader, we're responsible for those 4 metrics and many others. But at the end of the day, collaboration is going to allow us to effectively hit these deliverables. I want to tell you a story. A while back, I was working with a very successful company, and they weren't hitting on the metrics that I just described. In fact, profitability was at an all-time low. This was a good company. It was a profitable company. They were losing important people regularly. So they would have starts and stops. They would be able to get going, momentum would just start, and then fall off again. From a customer service standpoint, they were not hitting on the metrics of customer service. Customer experience was failing as well. So as I looked at this team that was pretty much sitting there in disarray, and they were downtrodden, at one moment, the CEO banged the table and said, "We need a magic crystal ball to get this figured out." And all eyes were on me. And as I sat there, I'm like, this is a pretty intensive situation, and I don't think an emotional response of me to blurt out anything just as a matter of fact would be appropriate. So what do you say you give me a couple of weeks, come back and we'll talk about this in a more effective way? And so what I came back to them was, and I thought it was humorous, you really do need a crystal ball to figure this out. And I thought it was pretty funny. They didn't think it was too funny. But the idea was that I had assembled what it was the crystal ball was to be. So I want you to look at this right now. The magic crystal ball, to be able to collaborate better, centers around strengths, thinking styles, learning styles, behavioral styles, and the ability to adapt. So I want you to think about that. Applying our strengths is critically important. How many of us in the room right now know what our strengths are? Very few of us, but I see hands being raised, and that's not normal. Let me share with you a story about a survey that I became aware of years ago. This survey was by Gallup, and it asked a very simple question. Do you know what your strengths are? And are you able to use your strengths at work? 66% of the population said they had no idea what their strengths were. And of the 33% who did, only 20% were able to use their strengths at work. Think about that. It's pretty sad when you think about it. So I developed this card. And in this card, I ask you, and you received it on your way in, what are 10 strengths that you bring to the table? Simple question. On the other side, I ask, what are 3 things that you know you need to work on? And then what 6 things would happen if you actually fixed those 3 things that you've been working on? People might get to number 4, sometimes number 5. Very seldomly do they get to number 6, and they immediately go over to the 3 things that they know they need to fix. Now think about that. They immediately go to what's broken. All our lives, we're told the things that are broken about us, and not the things that make us great. I call this our nests. So what are you doing to amplify your nest? And never have I seen anyone complete the 10 things that make them great. On the back, I ask you, why do you do what you do? What's your purpose? And why should anyone care? What's your impact of your purpose? So take this and work on this with your teams, because to know your strengths is something that will serve you well as you move forward. How many of us know how we think, how we intentionally think? There are 4 thinking styles. There's convergent thinking, divergent thinking, creative thinking, and critical thinking. Do you know your primary thinking style? Do you know your secondary thinking style? It matters in how we collaborate with others. If we don't know how they think, How will we know how they will do what they do? What about your learning style? 4 styles of learning. There's auditory learning, visual learning, kinesthetic, learn by doing, and then reading and writing. What style do you prefer to learn? You need to know that with the people that you're collaborating with. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to help them get to where it is that they need to go. What about how we behave? I'm a student of DISC. Anybody familiar with DISC in the room? Yeah. DISC is a great behavioral analysis tool. It helps us understand how we do what we do. So when we think about D, goals, I's, people, D's and I's are forward-leaning. They're more concerned about tomorrow than they are today. C's are more concerned about facts, and S's with people, and they're reserved in their approach. So we have D, I, S, and C, forward-leaning, reserved. We need to have an understanding about how these people do what they do. So do you know how people do what they do when you collaborate with them? Most people don't. What if you did? Likely, you would be able to collaborate with them better. What about the ability to adapt? Do you know how you adapt? Turns out there's ability, character, and environment that contribute to our ability to adapt. And then there are 5 subdimensions that total 15 in actuality that help us understand our ability to adapt. So how do you adapt? I've assembled a list of 10 things that I think will be helpful for you to move forward with your ability to adapt. I believe in systems. Systems drive 80%. We manage the 20% variables. So as you look at this screen, I want you to prioritize what is best for you. What things might you be missing in your collaborative process that are identified here? It centers around those 5 metrics as we move forward. I'll advance the screen one more time. You're able to understand by looking at this strategy what it is that I need to do, not optional. It requires you to step outside of your comfort zone. Are you willing to step outside your comfort zone to collaborate with others better? I hope that you are. At the end of the day, these are the benefits that you'll be exposed to if you're brave enough to exit your comfort zone and achieve these benefits. You're going to gain outside perspective in a way that you haven't before. You'll be able to remove blind spots and solve problems. You're going to build capacity. You'll be more resilient just by the very nature of it. You'll create synergy in ways that you've never experienced before. You'll improve retention, and you'll improve the culture that you strive to create. Lastly, you will be more relevant in the world that you serve. You see, to change the narrative, you have to do something different. If I was to share with you that my greatest strength is tenacity, my second strength is my ability to adapt. I prefer to learn visually, then with auditory, kinesthetically, and back it up with reading and writing. I prefer to think creatively and convergently. I'm a great adapter, and I'm a high ID in the behavioral metrics. Would that help you collaborate with me better? You think it might? I think it would too. So to be vulnerable is important in our ability to adapt effectively with others. So as you move forward, my question to you is, what will you do differently to collaborate with others? What will motivate you to do that? Thank you for listening. I'm Jeff Rogers.